The Prophet ﷺ knew that the caravan of Abu Sufyan is going northwards, towards Syria. So the Ghazwatul Ushayra was the intended caravan on the way up. And the Battle of Badr was the same caravan on the way down. Okay? So the Ghazwatul Ushayra set up Ghazwatul Badr. Ghazwatul Ushayra is phase 1. But it didn't happen, because by the time the Prophet ﷺ got there, Abu Sufyan had heard the news and he fled quickly, took another route. And so Ghazwatul Ushayra, the Prophet ﷺ never actually met the caravan. Now when the time came, rough time came, that they expected the caravan back, and this is in now the month of Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ began sending multiple spies to see where has the caravan reached. And we have at least 2 or 3 ahadith that mention different spies. So this means basically that over the course of every few days he's sending out another few people. For example, in Sahih Muslim, Anas ibn Malik says that when the time came for the caravan's return, the Prophet ﷺ sent a spy to inform him about the advent of the caravan. And when the spy returned, when the Sahabi returned, the Prophet ﷺ made sure that nobody was sitting in the room except for Anas. And Anas was excused because at this time he's probably 7 years old. In another hadith in Ibn Ishaq, it is mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ sent Talha ibn Ubaidillah and Sa'id ibn Zayd. So he sent 2 of the famous Sahaba to monitor their activities, and they waited for the caravan and followed it for a while, until the caravan passed them by, and then they galloped back quickly to Medina. And they reported that to the Prophet ﷺ that it was under the command of Abu Sufyan, that it had almost 1,000 camels in its entourage. This was the largest caravan in recent history, in recorded history for the Quraysh. The Ghazwatul Ushayra, he literally saved it by the skin of his teeth, as they say. One day, otherwise he would have been caught. Right? And so, Qadar Allah, Ghazwatul Ushayra was the warning for Abu Sufyan. That was what sent him off his warning bells. That on the way back, Abu Sufyan took extra precautions. So much so, he would send spy parties out to spy on the spies. There's a spy game going on here, right? He would send delegations out to find out, is anybody spying on us? Abu Sufyan panics because he realizes we are being monitored. And therefore this panic causes him to go into overdrive mode. And he does 2 things, both of which Qadar Allah saved him, but Allah's Qadar was also there. It brought about the biggest disaster to the Quraysh, right? In saving himself, he brought about the biggest disaster to the Quraysh that Allah blessed the Muslims with. So he did 2 things. The first thing that he did is that he took an unknown route. Immediately, as soon as he found out this is happening, he hired a local guide and he says, get us out of here. Take us from the shore. And he went from a much farther route. He basically bypassed an entire city, so that he wasn't even close to where the Prophet ﷺ would have been. And the second thing he did is that he sent for reinforcements. He sent for reinforcements. And how did he send for reinforcements? He sent his fastest rider, who had the fastest camel, and that is Damdam ibn Amr al-Ghifari. He sent Damdam to go to Mecca and to announce to the Quraysh that unless they do something, their caravan will be confiscated.
Before he goes in, he turns the camel backwards. He sits in his camel backwards. He slits the nose of the camel, so blood coming out of the camel. I mean, this is very right. He wants to really that. And then he tears his shirt up. And he comes in, he's in this really bizarre display and he screams to the Quraysh, the caravan. And so he's got the Quraysh in a complete state, right? And they all begin to rush about and get ready to go out.
What happened after that? The Quraysh immediately convened a council, and they're debating what exactly needs to be done. And almost unanimously, they agreed they need to send an army to protect the caravan, because the exaggerated report of Damdam, the exaggerated report of the envoy of Abu Sufyan, had made them very worried about their investments. This is their livelihood, this is their saving. There's simply no question that this, in their eyes, is a legitimate army, that they need to gather together an army immediately and send it out to confront the Muslims. Now, the Muslims, when they left Medina, they had no clue that they're going to meet an army. It's not even an inclination. Right, so the totally different perspective now. The Muslims are leaving Medina and they literally think this is going to be an easy raid. A raid where we are, mashallah, 315 and there's only 40 of their armed guards. Like we have a ratio of almost 1 to 10 basically, right? We're almost 1 to 10 of their guard and we'll have a clear victory. However, rumors began to come. And this is the way of the Bedouins, that Bedouins are traveling back and forth and they'll carry the news that something's happening. And every time you meet a traveler in the desert, you would ask, where are you from? What are you doing? What is the news? And the rumors began to spread that rather there is an army that has left Mecca intending to fight with the Muslims. And the land of Badr, or the area of Badr, it is around 160 miles southwest of Medina and 250 miles north of Mecca. So it is in between Mecca and Medina.
So now the battle's about to break out. So what the Prophet does is he sets them all in rank. He actually has it before, but it actually takes place after the initial meeting. He sets them in rank like a soldier, and the Prophet's there in the front, and he has an arrow, and in one riwayah he has a Habib, and he's going along like a soldier, a general with his soldiers. And this man, Sawad, is slightly out of rank, and he knocks him in his stomach to push him back in. And he says, Ya Rasulullah, الذي بعث بالحق قد أوجعتني. You hurt me. And he said, Anta adlun, you're just by your nature. Aqidni, let me take my retribution. So the Prophet ﷺ gave him his stick, and he, I mean, it's amazing, right before a battle. And he hugs him and kisses him. He hugs him and kisses him, and the Prophet ﷺ says, why did you do that? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm looking at what I'm looking at. In other words, there's 1,000 people out there, and I'm about to die. And I want my last ahad with you that my skin touch your skin. Aswad from Makhzum rides ahead, and Hamza goes out, strikes him down. Right? So now this is the beginning. So what happens is from this, Abu Jahl, right, Utbah steps out and gives challenge. And then his brother Shayba goes out and his son Al-Walid. So here's 3 big men from Abdul Shams. These are Awlad Abdul Manaf. These are strong Qurayshi noblemen. And they go out. And then they call. Immediately the Ansar go out. They're ready to fight. They look at the Ansar and they say, Man antum? Who are you? And they tell them, they said, no, we want aksa. We want people of our same stature. We don't have any quarrels with you. And so the Prophet ﷺ called, Ya Ubaidah, Ya Hamza, Ya Ali. So he calls, look at these people. Ubaidah is family. Hamza is family, and Ali is family. These are all direct family members. So this is the Ahlul Bayt Rasulullah ﷺ. So they go out, and the 3 immediately, Hamza kills Shayba with 1 blow. Sayyidina Ali kills Al-Walid, the son of Shayba. And then Ubaidah radiallahu anhu and Utbah, each one strikes the other. And he loses his leg, Ubaidah radiallahu anhu. And Utbah then, Ali and Hamza attack them. Now at this point, they've just lost 3 of their noblest people. There's still 1,000 of them. There's only 312, or now there's 311 of the, and they have nothing. Some of them don't even have swords. So you can imagine the humiliation of these people seeing this. They're 3. And Hamza and Sayyidina Ali was a great warrior. Hamza was probably the greatest of the Qurayshi warriors.
The majority opinion is that the Prophet ﷺ, generally speaking, did not fight in most of the battles, but in Badr he did fight. That in most of the battles he was a military commander, and military commanders by and large do not fight. They maintain the order, and they make sure which troop goes where. As for the Battle of Badr, it appears to be, based on 1 or 2 narrations, that he was physically fighting along with making dua in the tent. So what Ibn Hajar and others opine is that he would fight and then he would make dua, and then he would fight and then he would make dua. So he was alternating between his tent, which was the tent that was set up to be the base, if you remember, we talked about that last week, and then he was also in the front of the fields. And they base this on a narration of Ali ibn Abi Talib, which is narrated in Muslim Imam Ahmad, where Ali said that on the day of Badr, we saw that the Prophet ﷺ was the closest of us to the enemy, and when the fighting got tough, we would seek protection through him, i.e. by coming close to him.
So they begin to flee, the Quraysh, because they're seeing all these leaders dropping, and it's like when an army loses its, they lose all their lieutenants and captains, and all you have is soldiers left. What are they going to do? Flee, because they're not trained strategically. They don't know what to do, so they all fled.
Nothing could have seemed weaker to them in their situation. They were even fasting. Islam was new in Medina. There weren't too many of the Muhajirin. The tribes outside Medina were overwhelmingly hostile. The Muslims, having made the hijrah, were a small island of tawheed in a huge raging sea of shirk. They felt weak. They were weak by all of the standards of history. And yet if we look across the history of humanity, we will not find a battle that was more influential and more extraordinary and had a bigger impact on all subsequent generations of the human species than the Battle of Badr.
Hey guys, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to our page. Jazakallah khair for watching and supporting the channel. Just a quick shout out from our sponsors, Path to Arabic. Path to Arabic is a very innovative, interesting and fun way to learn Arabic online. Click the link in the description below. May Allah bless you all with eternal happiness and success.
Do you want to learn Arabic but just don't have the time or the ridiculous fee it usually costs for a classroom course? You've searched high and low for a fast, easy, affordable program but just can't seem to find one that really works. Software and books may be convenient but can't teach you much more than vocabulary. You need a course that actually teaches you to speak the language like a native. Introducing Path to Arabic, the proven step-by-step method for learning Arabic online. Path to Arabic combines video with interactive exercises and quizzes to teach you Arabic in a fun, engaging way. The course content has been designed and developed by highly qualified, experienced teachers to match the same curriculum used in top Arabic schools. You can learn at your own pace and keep track of your progress with the built-in progression tracker. The course materials and tests allow you to practice what you've learned, giving you the confidence to move on to the next level. You even have the option of choosing between 2 teachers for each lesson. That way, you can select the teacher whose teaching style is best suited to your learning style. You can schedule a live private class with our expert teachers. They'll help you put your learning into practice. Here, you'll practice your speaking skills and you'll be guided and motivated the whole way by a native speaker. It's convenient, cost-effective, and just plain works. Learn Arabic the easy way with Path to Arabic today.